You're listening to Bloomberg Businessweek with Carol Massar and Tim Stenovec on Bloomberg Radio.
It is already well past 5 p.m. somewhere, 5 p.m. here. And so it seems like the perfect time to talk about the business of wine.
It's always 5 o'clock somewhere, right? All right, we've got a great voice on it. Someone who has spent some of her growing up years, sounds like a lot of them, wandering among vineyards and cellars, thanks to her dad, Jerry Lohr, a real estate developer, agriculturist, and wine grower. With us is Cynthia Lohr, the co-owner and chief brand officer of Lohr Vineyards and Wines, joining us. By the way, one of Wine and Spirits magazine's top 100 wineries for the second year in a row, and she's joining us on Zoom in San Rafael, California. Cynthia, so nice to have you here with Simone and me on Bloomberg Businessweek. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you, Carol and Simone. It's such a pleasure to be with you. And I agree, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. So great time to be talking about wine.
Well, before we get to a couple of things, because you guys have a lot going on, tell us a little bit about the history of the vineyard. Your dad, very much a pioneer in developing California's wine world. Tell us about the family business, growing up within it. And, you know, we take it for granted today, but it wasn't always that way.
Oh, absolutely. What a great question. You know, my father grew up in South Dakota in a farming family, and he was always very much a man of the soil, out in the out farming and with his family tending to wheat, barley, rye, triticale, which is a little known soil amendment. So when he came out to California in the late 50s to pursue his PhD in civil engineering from Stanford University, after he created his first building and development business in the South Bay of California, kind of San Jose area where our first winery is located, he and his building and development partner found they had a mutual love of wine. So they started traveling to California's Central Coast. First, it was Monterey County's Arroyo Seco, right near Carmel and in Monterey County, and put their first boots in the ground, planting 293 acres across 11 different varieties, and then later found after some trial that Cabernet and Chardonnay did not grow well side by side in that cool climate region. So that took him an hour south to Paso Robles, where since 1986, we've been growing the bulk of our red wine and Bordeaux portfolio. So we actually started out in Monterey County started planting in the late 60s, early 70s, and Paso Robles in 1986. And we'll celebrate 50 years of our heritage wines in 2024.
So you have now over, I believe, 2,000 acres that you're farming. Talk to me about some of the key issues that you follow every day as you're running now a quite large wine business.
Absolutely. So across our 3 distinct appellations, actually 4 if you count Santa Lucia Highlands, we also grow on a small parcel in St. Helena in Napa Valley. But all told, our 4,000 acres are certified California sustainable, as are our 3 wineries, and by year's end, 27 of our approximately 41 wines. So for my brothers and my father and myself, we are truly family owned and operated, hands-on day in and day out. My brothers and I all hold executive roles for the last 22 years in our business. So we really embrace the vision that my father set forth so many years ago, and that was to truly be a sustainable enterprise. So everything we do is always with an eye toward resource conservation, optimization, innovation, Cynthia, but always ensuring that we are doing what we can to influence the quality of our wines from vineyard to bottle.
And we're going to get to sample and check out the quality of your wines, which we'll do in a moment. But I want, you know, when you talk about sustainability, we've had a lot of conversations over the years with vineyards, certainly in the California area, and just the challenges that are coming at you, whether it's because of climate change, it gets trickier and trickier. What have the last couple of years been like for you guys?
Oh my goodness. Full throttle into conservation efforts. So everything from our wastewater treatment program, which reduces the amount of water required to produce a gallon of wine to almost under 2 gallons, to practicing deficit irrigation. So we'll often mimic rain events, and we'll irrigate continually in a vineyard for a period of 24 hours and then not irrigate for 2 more months. Or practices such as roll-up doors, our solar tracking array, which powers more than 85% of our Paso Robles facility. But now, as you both know, the new area that's of most concern is social equity. It's not just environmental stewardship or financial resource. It's really about social equity. How do you care for your communities? How do you care for your people? How do you ensure that you're doing what you can to create a thriving and prosperous place where your employees live, work, and play? So we're really focused on long-term solutions for California's water crisis, as well as just looking at how can we curtail greenhouse gas emissions in every facet of our business.
Can you get into the nitty gritty though? Like, what has become more difficult for you? The thing that's changed the most, whether it's, climate wise or water or heat, what has had the biggest impact?
I would say for us, it truly is water. And here in California, tending to California's water crisis and being at the forefront of really finding some of those longer term solutions, whether it is blending recycled wastewater with nearby Lake Nacimiento to ensure that wells in Paso Robles will have ample supply. It's really about finding those longer term solutions, because honestly, climate change will continue to throw many weather events at us. We have to be prepared, but we also have to take the long tail toward convening leaders across all facets of government and city council to brainstorm these long-term solutions. So I'd say that's what we're most focused on.
The business right now, tell us about costs, wages, supply chains. How is all of that?
Yes. So the business for us is healthy. That comes from having the perspective of being a vertically integrated business. So we've had long-term arrangements with suppliers, or our leadership team. Many have been with J. Lohr for over 15 to 20 years. That includes our winemakers. But certainly we're seeing escalation of costs across the entire supply chain. But for J. Lohr, because we control facets of our business, being a vertically integrated company, so growing and producing our own wines really makes a difference to consumers at the end of the day. And so that's where we sit differently from many in our competitive set, is being able to take ownership of the costs, our ability to keep them down, so that those costs do not translate to the consumer.
Cynthia Lohr, co-owner and chief brand officer of J. Lohr Vineyards and Wines, on Zoom in San Rafael, California. And Cynthia, you gave us the great backstory and history of your family-owned vineyard. You also shared with us, thank you so much, some wine that I'm going to open up. I believe it is a Cabernet Sauvignon. Tell us a little bit about the wines that you guys make in this wine that I'm going to open up. We're going to sample and we're going to talk more about it.
Perfect. Well, I'll need to know, is it the Hilltop or the signature Cabernet Sauvignon?
I believe it's the Hilltop. Yes, it is.
Okay, terrific. So J. Lohr Hilltop Cabernet Sauvignon is a wine that we have been producing since 1998. It's in our J. Lohr. Ooh, I heard that.
I popped it, and I'm actually going to pour it too. So you're going to hear that in the background because this is live.
I'm envious. Because it's not quite my cocktail hour here in California, but
5 o'clock somewhere.
I'm certainly with you, in spirit. So I'm actually so happy that you're drinking this particular wine right now, because this is absolutely one of my favorites in our portfolio, and I'm not just saying that. So since 1998, and this wine, like so many of our small lot production wines in our J. Lohr Vineyard series tier, really exemplifies a deep sense of place. So there actually is a hilltop vineyard with panoramic views overlooking all of Paso Robles. And what makes this wine so delicious and so unique is my father's fanatical precision around selecting sites that are going to bring about the best varietal characteristics, whether it's through soil profile or the aspects of the growing region that have to do with how cool the climate is, or whether it's south facing slopes or dappled sunlight coming across the vine. So it's really about site specific selections. And we at J. Lohr are fortunate to grow in about 5 of the 11 sub appellations. That essentially means that there are different microclimates that elicit these nuanced flavors that all contribute to just this one really supple, expressive, bold, but super delicious, not
Well,
high
Cynthia,
tannin profile
I
at
have
all, but
I have to say,
yummy.
Simone and I both have sampled a little bit, and I am a fan of cabs. It's one of my favorite to drink. This is a real smooth quality to it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And that's by design because our tannin profile in our red wines follows this winemaker philosophy. Our VP winemaking, Steve Peck, says we are soft, dense, and never green. So that applies to our tannins, not our personalities, but our tannins. And so what that means is you get these really refined berry flavors in that smooth, supple structure, but
Mm.
also to growing what we grow. So this is
Right.
95% Cabernet Sauvignon, 3% Petit Verdot, 1% Malbec, and 1% Cabernet Franc. We have the ability to blend in what we call a spice rack of varieties to really land on just the perfect flavor
It's lovely.
profile.
It's really
It's
lovely.
really
Makes us
lovely.
wonder about like kind of consumer trends in general, right, Simone?
Yeah, like what do consumers want, and how does that change how you're mixing your wine?
Absolutely. So some out there may say that consumers are gravitating toward more of a sweet flavor profile. Well, given that we are a vineyard driven company, given that we are farmers and agriculturists at the end of the day, we're always looking at what do the vineyards give us, and then we craft our wines around what the vineyards give us. So at the end of the day, for us, it's all about authenticity. It's about accessibility. It's about being available and conscientious, not only for what our consumers might like in terms of fine wine or everyday occasion wines, but a flavor profile that is versatile, that's food friendly, that's consistent,
Well,
that's
and
pleasing.
it also sounds
Yeah,
like we've seen a trend of, wines don't need to be fussy. Wines don't need to be expensive.
no,
Like
no,
I
absolutely
feel like
not.
there's been this wonderful explosion. We recently talked about a story about Darden restaurants, and they
Mhm,
talked about how even their wealthy consumers were trading down a little bit when it came
mhm.
to their wine choices when they came in the restaurant. Give me an idea in this economic environment. There's some uncertainty. Are price point, and are you seeing any of that? Are you hearing that from any of your customers?
We certainly are hearing some of that. You know, we're in uncertain times right now economically, and I both know that you know so much about
We
economics given
try.
your backgrounds, and so I so appreciate that. But I think the beauty of being a family-owned winery like J. Lohr is that we have been crafting wines in 7 distinct tiers now
Hmm.
for many, many years. So for those who wish to trade up for a special occasion, J. Lohr Vineyard Series and above is perfect for that. If you're going to your friend's house for Tuesday night taco or Wednesday night pizza, regardless of what it is, we have a wine for that particular occasion. So
Right.
whether it's the $15 to $19 price point at retail, and you're just looking to bring a delicious bottle of wine to your friends, or you want to upscale a little bit, we have that opportunity as well. So it's a little early to tell where consumer preferences lie, but just as during pandemic, we're at that sweet spot and we're blessed for that. And
Interesting.
it all comes back down to economies of scale, given that we are that vertically integrated
Right.
enterprise.
Hey, before we go, we've got about a minute left here. Leading the way. Tell us just quickly about this. It's a contest that's underway, and it is until the end of October.
Absolutely. So it's all about the twos in this one. So we're talking a round trip for two nights, $500 gift card, in beautiful Paso Robles. And if you ladies have heard the buzz about the area, it is so replete with incredible wines, personalities, vintners, and just all these fantastic places to dine. We're so excited to share some of our Paso Robles excitement and our
Right.
wines and our Lohr Paso Robles Wine Center with those lucky 2 winners.
Well, it's so funny knowing you were coming in, and we were all prepping in the newsroom, and everybody was talking about who's been to California wine country, because it really is something to experience. Cynthia, first of all, thank you for letting us experience a wine from your vineyard. We so appreciate it, and look forward to checking back in the future on how things are going. Cynthia Lohr, co-owner and chief brand officer of Lohr Vineyards and Wines, on Zoom in San Rafael, California.
I'm glad we're able to close out the day with a glass of wine.
We're not done yet. We're not done yet.
And it's true. And there's more coming up as well.
Anyways, our thanks. But we're getting there, everybody. The weekend's just around the corner. Carol Massar, Simone, Foxman, and this is Bloomberg Radio.